If some people are more intelligent than others, this means that they will receive more of God's blessings because their choices will be better or wiser than others. That's not fair, is it?
The proper way to show gratitude for the blessings bestowed upon us is not by clasping a sibha and saying thanks to Allah 100 times or 1,000 times. The proper way to show gratitude is by putting the blessing to good use. Work in itself is a form of gratitude. In the Quran, after God recounts the many blessings He bestowed upon the family of David, He said, "Work, O family of David, in gratitude." Showing gratitude for a certain blessing entails using the blessing in the way in which God intended. On the other hand, using a blessing in a way that displeases God represents ingratitude for that blessing. Intelligence is a blessing from God. One person may be of average intelligence, while another person may be extremely intelligent. The important factor is how you utilize the intelligence you possess. I would like to point out that there are some extremely intelligent people who have landed themselves in jail. This is because they use their intelligence in the wrong way. On the other hand, there are others who possess average intelligence but have reached the highest levels of scientific achievement because they managed to use their intelligence in the proper way. That is why I want to explain the difference between intelligence and thinking. Because there's a big difference between these two things, by the way. We can compare intelligence to a car, whereas thinking can be compared to driving skills. If we put a very powerful car in the hands of a reckless driver, it will be the reason for his demise. On the other hand, if an average car is driven by a competent driver, it will take him to wherever he needs to go. The ability to think actually led one philosopher to realize the existence of God. René Descartes was a French philosopher who adhered to the deist philosophy, and he reached the conclusion that his skepticism regarding the existence of God was in fact proof that there was a God. He started by saying that he doubted the existence of God. And the very fact that he doubted meant that he was thinking. And the fact that he was thinking was proof of his existence. This is summarized in his most famous saying, "I think, therefore I am." He then went on to say, "Since I exist, therefore I have been created. And since I did not create myself, someone else must have created me, and that someone is God." Intelligence is a great blessing from God, but we should actually be concerned with the act of thinking, because although we are not accountable for our level of intelligence, we are responsible for our thinking. The Quran taught us how to think. The Quran taught us to think in an objective manner. It taught us to seek truth and evidence. We have already mentioned that René Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am, or I exist. Je pense, donc j'existe." The problem that troubles many young people nowadays is that there are some very intelligent scientists who do not believe in God. Yes, but there are also some very intelligent scientists in the fields of space and rocket science and atomic physics who worship cows. Is this proof of the validity of worshipping cows? Well, if worshipping cows is indeed valid, since it is practiced by some very intelligent scientists, what about the other intelligent scientists who are atheists? Which is correct, atheism or worshipping cows? Actually, the truth should not be defined through men. It is men who should be defined through the truth. As I mentioned, there is a difference between intelligence and thinking. Antony Flew, after living for 80 years and writing numerous books leading thousands of people to atheism, wrote a book entitled "There is a God," but he died without embracing Islam. Some atheists become agitated when I mention Antony Flew, stating that he died without ever embracing Islam, indeed denying Islam. Yes, but it took him 80 years to come to the realization that there is a God. Perhaps if he had lived for another 80 years, he may have embraced Islam. We must put in mind that we are always seeking evidence. The Quran quotes a group of believers who say, "These people of ours have taken gods other than Him, the one true God. Why do they not produce clear evidence about them?" In other words, We are people who are seeking the truth, seeking evidence, wherever that evidence will take us. We should not set out with the intent of defending a particular opinion. And if we are to understand the meaning of objective thinking, we must understand that this is something we lack nowadays. Here, the Quran is actually telling Muslims to leave Islam if they find evidence to prove that something other than Islam is valid. Because in effect, worshipping another God along with Allah entails the departing from Islam. This is a very strong challenge from Allah. There is a great example related to the issue of alms or zakah payable for cultivated crops, which highlights what I mean to say. 3 of the 4 schools of Islamic jurisprudence, including the Shafi'i, the Maliki, and the Hanbali schools of thought, debated regarding which types of crops necessitated the paying of alms. Some believe that alms must only be paid on account of crops which are edible and which produced crops of non-perishable foodstuffs, such as wheat. Another believed that alms must only be paid on account of such crops which were edible, but not on harvests which provided non-edible products, such as cork, for instance. The leader of the 4th prominent school of thought, Imam Abu Hanifa, disagreed with all of them and declared that alms must be paid for every kind of crop, whether or not it was edible or perishable or what have you. I was very impressed by Imam Ibn al-Arabi, who became the leader of the Maliki school of jurisprudence. He disagreed with the opinion embraced by Imam Malik and actually went against the opinion of his own Maliki school of thought, despite being the Imam of that school of thought. Instead, he supported the opinion of Abu Hanifa, stating Abu Hanifa made the verse of the Quran his mirror, and so he saw the truth. In other words, he praised Abu Hanifa and acknowledged that this man had really understood the Quranic verse that dealt with the issue at hand and abided by it and had therefore reached the truth. He was referring to the verse that says, "It is he who produces both trellised and untrellised gardens, date palm, crops of diverse flavors, the olive, the pomegranate, alike yet different. So when they bear fruit, eat some of it, paying what is due on the day of harvest." He acknowledged that the correct opinion was the one that agreed with the holy verse which mentioned all kinds of crops. The point that I'm trying to make here is not about whose opinion was correct regarding this matter, but rather I'm trying to point out the way in which Imam Ibn al-Arabi thought. His way of thinking, he was not set on defending the opinion of his own school of thought merely because it was his own school of thought. And he did not set out to defend his leader and teacher, Imam Malik. Why is that? Because he was a truth seeker. When he came to the conclusion that the truth lay within the opinion of another school of thought, the Hanafi school of thought, he declared that he fully supported that opinion. He did not let pride or stubbornness prevent him from seeking the truth, what he believed to be correct based on research and evidence. This is the Quranic mindset that is necessary for us to aspire to, a mindset that is nurtured by the Quran, a mindset that asks for nothing but the truth. The Quran encouraged us to declare to non-Muslims when we enter into debate with them that we will not insist on our opinion if it becomes clear to us that our opinion is incorrect. The Quran told us that when we speak to non-Muslims, we must say, one party of us must be rightly guided and the other clearly astray. In other words, either we are right or you are right. Either we are wrong or you are wrong. We should not insist on our own opinion. We must open people's hearts to us. The Quran taught us to say to them, you will not be questioned about our crimes, nor will we be questioned about what you do. In other words, the verse says, you will not be asked about our crimes, but notice how the verse refers to the non-believers' actions simply with the words, what you do. This is extremely polite. We must always be very polite and respectful during any discussion or debate. Never provoke those with different views or beliefs. Be objective in your quest for the truth. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, was entering into a debate with the Christians of Najran, God revealed to him the words, say, if the All-Merciful truly has a son, I will be the first one to worship him, which is again challenging them to embrace the truth if they find it, because we should be ready to embrace the truth even if we were to find it elsewhere than Islam. Next, we come to the issue of quoting scholars who believe in the presence of a creator but whom reject or dismiss Islam, such as Anthony Flew. Is it wrong for me to quote Anthony Flew because of the fact that he is not a Muslim? First of all, Anthony Flew started believing in God after the age of 80. And as I said, had he lived another 80 years, he may very well have embraced Islam. But even if he never embraced Islam, that fact does not detract from or discredit Islam. Even if Islam had been presented to him in an improper way and he had died without finding true religion, actually, he did die without embracing any religion, and he openly rejected all religions. But when I discuss a particular issue such as the presence of a creator, it is my right to use all the evidence and all the examples that corroborate my opinion, even if the people I quote do not agree with everything that I say or believe in. So I refer to the writing of Anthony Flew in the issue of the existence of a creator, not in the issues pertaining to a particular religion. In fact, if the person I quote does not agree with me in any issue except the one at hand, it is still my right to use that person's words as corroboration. But I must make it clear that we agree solely on that issue. To summarize, thinking is a systematic and malleable intellectual process that can be improved and utilized in a correct manner or in an incorrect manner. It is up to you. It is not related to the degree of intelligence of an individual. And this is what will become clear in the coming episodes, God willing, how I can improve on my way of thinking. Thank you.